welcome back, everybody, to Hitting the Apex here in the Five Reasons Sports Network. Joined as always by the fabulous Vish. I mean, the fabulous Moni. I'm sorry.
Hey, what?
Get that
I'm not
confused,
fabulous now? What are you
Wait,
trying to say, man?
the fabulous Moni and the effervescent Vish. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
I'm just trying to use big words. It's big words.
Dude,
It's
it's not
big
that
word
type of
Wednesday.
show, man. It's not that type of show.
Isn't it though?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it is, yes.
Tonight's a fun show. We've got a big night period because we've got another show coming up after this, and Vish, fresh off of his flight to Albany, as he went to go see the University of Miami men's basketball team make it to the Sweet 16, and shout out to the women as well who made it to the Sweet 16. So we'll talk a little bit about that in about an hour or so. But
baseball's up 8-4. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah, baseball was down 4-0 in the first couple innings.
No pitching, man. No pitching, but it doesn't matter.
That's all right. We're doing all right. All we got to do is hit dingers. Moni, buenas noches.
Buenas noches, caballeros. ¿Cómo estamos?
Bien.
Happy Sunday, I can say.
Yeah, I bet you are. You got one right. Well, you got one right. Literally one right.
I mean,
the one that matters most.
Yep.
I should get some credit here. Like I just you know what? I gotta get one of these right. So I pick Max, and his car fails in Q2 and he doesn't win. And it's just, I mean, at this point, I think I should pick George Russell to win every race.
I think you should.
And then whatever calamity happens to him to prevent that from happening will be probably the most enjoyable part of the season for me at this point.
I need to figure out a way to I don't know what I have to do.
The problem is I can't lift people up. I can only break them down.
That's true.
It's not a full superpower. It's just if I pick you to do well, you're not going to do well.
But it works half the time.
Yeah, so I can prevent people from being successful. I cannot help them.
It's some Vish Santeria.
That's what it is.
I know. I got a week to figure out who I'm going to screw over for the Australian GP. So I got survive.
Gosh, oh my gosh. So hey, so Money, what are your thoughts on this? Just overall thoughts on the Saudi Arabia GP. I think everything went exactly how we thought it would, right?
Listen, at least there were no attacks.
Yeah, that's true.
In the outskirts of our track, just pretty fireworks.
Yeah.
That probably cost thousands of dollars. No big deal. But no, I mean, whatever. We got it over with. I'm very happy with the results. At least when it comes to P1, I'm very happy. I think it was an all right race. I wouldn't call it like a super exciting race. I don't think it was. But I did like it a little better than Bahrain. I got to be honest with you. I did enjoy it a little bit more than Bahrain. And yeah, I'm really excited about Checo. He was able to keep that gap the whole time. I mean, I would say probably like 95% of the time. But at the beginning, I was like, wow, this lasted so little. Literally, when Alonso passed him, I was like, okay, this is the saddest stuff I've ever seen. I got happy for no reason. But no. He proved me wrong. He proved us all wrong. And then at the end, I was getting a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
We got to talk about this debacle of this.
A little nervous. Not gonna lie to you.
I mean,
I'm gonna call it this horse shittery of Red Bull. And obviously we'll talk about that's going to be a big topic of conversation because what they almost did.
What they tried to do.
What they tried to do was very bushy.
Checo wasn't having it though. Look at that man. His balls dropped.
I'm gonna predict something later with Red Bull that I've been talking about with some of my family also. So
we're gonna get into the whole.
We'll get into it, but it's I'm chomping at the bit.
I mean, we should point out that the only reason this race, I think, would have been more exciting if not for the safety car, which they didn't need to do.
Right.
Because otherwise Max would have had to cut through the whole field. And Jazz, your boys pitted right before the safety car. And perfect strategy. They both jumped Stroll, and it was like, oh my god, Ferrari did it. They faked him into going in, and they overcut him. They told Sainz to pit, so Aston Martin defensively pit to avoid getting under.
Yeah, the safety car screwed their strategy.
Yeah, you fooled them.
And once again, they had the best and quickest pit stop.
So both the Ferraris jumped.
Some things they're doing right, though. I'm okay.
No,
I'm actually okay.
The strategy was perfect.
Yep.
And then Formula One, Stroll takes his car's breaking down. He makes a U-turn into the runoff area completely behind the barricade.
Which was actually perfect.
Yeah, no, he did it exactly right. Yeah. And they safety car'd anyway. And I don't know if you saw, they explained why later. Because like, there's no way that, at worst, you VSC it.
Right.
In case someone has to climb over the barrier. But they didn't have to do that. Like, and they said the GPS was broken. We thought he was on track.
Oh, shut
up. I don't know about the
because there isn't 1,000 different cameras,
I was about to say, I don't know about the two of you. I believe these things are on television. There's cameras in places.
Possibly. I'm not sure.
I would say so.
Yeah, there's probably cameras, on track where you could see that it's behind a barricade, not on track.
Yeah, that was. I think they could have given a better result.
That was
and I think Max.
FIA. Okay?
Yeah, and Max would have finished second anyway. But the whole we missed out on him having to really, put in a bunch of hot laps to chase people down, because once the field's bunch, he's already, I forget where he landed after the pit stops, but at that point it's done. The only reason he was farther back, he had made up a bunch of places, but if you get stuck behind someone, you're going at their pace.
Yeah. And I think he was in ninth when they had the virtual, the safety car.
I think functionally he was. Of course, he never even had to pass the Ferraris because they had already pitted and the safety car got a free pit stop. Like, that's kind of what. Right. I don't think it mattered he was going to finish second, but we would have had some nice overtaking, having him have to push the whole time instead of just cruising in second place.
Well, I think it was interesting what. Look, like you said, right? Ferrari got the strategy right, then they got screwed over by pitting right before the safety car. But at the end, there was still a little bit of tension there with the Ferraris as well because of Leclerc's pace. I think that he had an opportunity to overtake Sainz, and they didn't. Something happened there where he had to pull back, and he was pretty pissed off about that also. So there's more storylines to this Saudi Arabia GP, which made it a little more.
Yeah, the Mercedes too.
Yep.
This is definitely a good episode for Drive to Survive. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Sure. I think every teammate wants to punch their teammate in the top 3 teams.
Big time.
I like it. Like Hamilton could not be a fan of Russell essentially ruining his chance to go run Alonso down. So by refusing to let him through and making him use his tires to try and get around him and just ruin the whole thing there. You mentioned Leclerc and Sainz, and definitely, we'll talk about this in a bit, but the whole Red Bull and what they tried to do.
Did they think that they didn't know math? That there was,
No,
what the hell? I heard it live, and I'm like,
no,
did they really just try to do that?
No, we can go ahead and talk about it now. But what they do is especially when you're out front, they tell you this is your target lap time, right? And they tell you go this pace. That's the right pace to see the race out and win, right? Or if you're in second, you can't catch the person in front of you. They say you lap time, take into account how much fuel you're going to burn to save weight and all that. But Checo was having none of it because they immediately told him target plus 0.4, and he's doesn't even say anything other than what is Max doing?
Yep.
And
Max doing
he's doing the same speed. No, he's going faster. There's well then it's clear.
So you want me to go slower?
Yeah, they're basically trying to allow Max to catch up to him, so then he'll be in DRS or near, and then you guys can race. After they told him, so Checo was way too wise to that. And he's like, nope, I'm not doing that. And he just kept driving at a faster
In
pace.
my opinion, this has been one of the few times that he's actually stood up for himself.
I think he's had enough. I think last year's whole
Max
that
got
shows
all
what
childish.
kind of person he really is.
Yeah, and then Max got all childish because he wanted to get the fastest lap. Well, we're not.
Which he did.
We're not concerned about it. I am.
Well, which he did, but there's a reason he was concerned about it because
of the points.
1 point.
Of course, 1 point.
We can't have Checo being the number 1 driver here.
Oh, God forbid.
So close though. It's so close.
And then in the what is it, the winner's room or whatever it is,
he sat
in Checo's chair and everything. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
This is
guy.
good. This is going to be the entertainment.
Noni, Team Checo all the way, baby.
I know.
No, we are now.
You know what?
This is a Checo Perez fan podcast.
For sure.
Yes, you know what I was thinking about? How you would literally gag when I would say Checo.
We're changing the name. It's called Hitting the Checo.
When you were a crappier person a couple months back, and you just didn't appreciate what you had back then. But the good news is that now you know what I'm saying?
I just got called a crappier person, bro.
I was just waiting because you were blinded. You were blinded by the hate. Well, I don't understand, but we all grow for the better. You know what I'm saying? And your time came to do that. So I'm really happy for you, Jazz.
So Jazz, I will say, we can't hear you because apparently the only thing crappier than your person is your headset. So
I just got called a crappier person, bro.
Right, but again, that's a comparative adjective. So maybe you're like so amazing now that you were crappier a few months ago, but that was still awesome.
But still amazing.
So you gotta have a perspective there, right? She didn't say you were crappy.
Thank you, Vish.
Crappier than now.
Right. That's exactly.
So depending on how she views you now, you might still be crappy. I don't know, but you're improving though. That much
all
we can
signs
say.
pointing to yes.
Yeah. Well, we can say that there has been improvement. That much we can.
Thanks. That's what I strive for. Is just to be a better person every day.
Yeah. You've done that. You've done that. So.
It shows.
Can we briefly talk about how both McLarens were in the pits in the first lap again?
Oh no! Do we have to?
Oh man! This team, man.
Where did they end up?
Towards they're still in last in the constructors.
Towards the back.
Yeah, they ended up in the Williams spot, which is they now own. Last two, yeah.
McLaren is the new Williams.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, Piastri actually got into Q3.
He did.
And Gasly hit him.
That's
it's
McLaren. Damage, right?
Yeah. So Lando had car issues in qualifying, so it was here near the back. Piastri got into Q3. Gasly hit the side of this is McLaren's luck for you. Gasly hits the side of Piastri. The piece that flew off the car hit Norris's car. Out of all the cars on the track, it hit Norris's, so they both got damaged.
Crazy.
They should just fold it up, man. Save your budget. Can they add 2 years of cost cap together if they just quit the rest of the season?
Yeah, no kidding. Right?
Need to start over.
That would be funny.
Need to start over. But yeah, that's why Norris got damaged, because actually the piece that fell off Piastri's car that forced him to hit Norris's car and broke it. It's just
honestly, after this whole crap with P3 and Alonso and Russell, if you write a compelling enough argument, they'll probably start the season back again just so McLaren gets a chance. I'm telling you, it's such a joke that you'll probably write an excellent letter and convince them, and they'll say, you know what, you're right. Let's go back to Bahrain real quick for a second, and let's just push everything 2 weeks down, and then there's your chance.
I mean, it's become, you're right. It's become a farce.
Yeah,
I think Hamilton should definitely reappeal the championship from 2 years ago, because maybe he'll get it back.
At this point, they'll probably give it to him.
I mean,
this date,
that was much clearer than all the stuff they're doing now.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that was a clear.
I don't understand how they get away with so much.
Well, it's because it's always the original sin, right? If they once you start not in a sport where literally they take out calipers and measure the millimeters of stuff, and that's how they determine if you're legal or not. Once you start saying, the rules are just vibes, man, then the whole thing is busted. And that's where we're at this point.
Right.
As anal as it is and as annoying as it is, when you're technically exacting, it says this is black and white, that is the rule, period.
Mm-hmm.
It gives a level playing field. Once you start saying, well, we'll interpret it. And it started obviously with Abu Dhabi 2 years ago when the safety car rules were really clear.
Right.
And he just said, no, I'm going to move a few cars out of the way so it's fun. Once you start that, you can't stop it. So what happened here is the rules are pretty clear. You're serving a penalty.
Right.
So you're not supposed to get an advantage out of it. You don't touch the car. They put the jack on the car.
Right.
Now, did they lift it? No. Did it really give them anything other than maybe a tenth of a second or whatever? No. But the rule is you can't touch it. So they
Yeah, but
penalized
for
him.
some reason they figured something out in the rules that didn't say.
Well, no. Here's what happened.
Yeah.
So.
Although I'm kind of happy that George
Well.
Russell didn't end
Oh
up
yeah,
on the
no,
podium.
thank God for that. Yes,
Yeah.
but so what they did is first, for whatever reason, they just let it slide during the race. I have no idea why. I actually saw it in real time. I saw them touching the car, and I'm like, I guess
Was
that's
it a
allowed
5
now.
second? You had to serve a 5 second.
Yeah, because he pulled up to his pit box wrong.
Gotcha.
Which is actually why he overtook Checo. He took a more aggressive line, and that's how he got up the inside. But anyway, so it did actually matter. But Checo just passed him back even before they turned DRS on. But for whatever reason, 30 laps of the race after that, they did not flag it. They didn't put a penalty in. They just let it go.
Right.
That's problem one. I guarantee you, Mercedes obviously saw the same thing we did, which is they were technically touching the car and complained.
Right.
Now, again, you had 30 laps to handle this during the race. They didn't do it because here's where the whole it's exactly the same thing as Abu Dhabi in that just apply the rules correctly. It's not a problem. Had that race ended under safety car, it's anticlimactic, but everyone knows the race can under safety car. Those are the rules. Right. Hamilton was faster that whole race anyway. It would be like, well, the right guy won. Who cares? It would have been nice to finish under green flag, but no one really cares. We'll accept it. In this case, all they had to do was say, hey, you touched the car. You can't do that. 10-second penalty. Alonso could have finished 15 seconds ahead of Russell if he wanted. Like, he was easing the car around because he was up by 6 seconds. He's like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
If they had just done the penalty like they should have and done it immediately like they should have, he would have just opened the gap up and finished third anyway because he would have finished more than 10 seconds in front. No, none of this would have happened. But instead, they tried to let him get away with it for God knows why. Then Mercedes complained, and then the loophole you mentioned after. So, I mean, this is the order of events. They touch the car in the pit when they're serving one penalty, which, by the way, if you recall last week or last race, Ocon got his 10 seconds for the same damn thing, and they didn't take that off.
Yep.
More consistency. They let him run 30 laps without even saying he's under investigation, then penalized him after the race, then released a statement explaining in black and white exactly why it's a penalty. This article, this code 4173-C clearly states that if you touch the car, that's considered working on it. Therefore, there's no discretion. Have to penalize him. 10 minutes later, Alonso's third again. And the evidence was they just showed videos of other teams touching the car and penalty and not getting penalized.
Hey.
What does that have to do with the rule?
Consistency, baby.
That has nothing to do with the rule. Like, yeah, that's new evidence. We threw it out. They were just looking for an excuse to leave him in third, which, again, it screwed George Russell, so we're definitely in favor of that.
Yeah, we are.
But, I mean... It would be like if you get called for face masking in football, and then you would be like, no, it's not a penalty. Here's another game where there was face masking, they didn't call it. Like, what are you talking about? It's still a penalty.
Yeah.
Just because you missed it once doesn't mean that it's no. So now here again, it's Pandora's box, right? Yeah. Now, can you work on the car during what's the rule?
Yeah.
If you're Ocon, it's a 10-second penalty. If you're Alonso, it's not. What is the rule here?
Well, I mean, it's par for the course for these guys.
I mean, it's just, there's no consistency at all. And again, it came to a head 2 years ago because the title race was so close. None of this is going to matter.
No.
The Red Bulls are going to be so far in front of everyone. No one's going to really, it's not going to cause a problem. But if it's ever close again, this is definitely going to cause a problem.
Yep.
You can't have inconsistent application of the rules.
Who's your driver of the day, Moni?
All right, you guys.
And your disappointment.
You guys better let me be a little basic. Okay.
I mean, we know who you got to go with. I mean,
we know you got to go with hitting the Checos.
Yeah. I don't have the luxury of indulging in this sweetness every other week, right? So just let me take it all in. My driver of the day is Checo. Except for the first couple of minutes where I was like, wow, this is sad. And then the last couple of minutes where I was like, oh my God, is Max actually going to catch up to Checo? Everything went pretty well. I was enjoying the race. I was holding Checo's hand, just watching him drive through the sunset. It was great. But no, overall, I think he had really good pace and he kept that gap, which is great. And Okay, my disappointment of the day would probably have to be probably Leclerc. Because honestly, okay, I was getting kind of excited at the beginning of the race because like the soft compounds were kind of doing him good. Like he was kind of zooming, and I said, okay, this looks promising. You know, this looks promising. I'm excited. And then boom, I just crashed. It's like when you have a sugar high and then you just crash. That's kind of how I felt with Leclerc. And then of course they have the misfortune of like pitting before the safety car, which is it's just so Ferrari to do that. But anyway, yeah, he has to be my disappointment. Not because he like particularly underperformed or anything. I got a little hopeful that we were going to see some action with Leclerc up there, and then my dream died, kind of. But yeah, those are my drivers, Checo and Leclerc.
Well, I think the softs were only lasting a specific amount of laps, right? So they had to switch, and I just think the hards weren't perform. The hards performed okay, actually. I just think that by the time that they put them on and they had the safety car and the strategy, the pit stop and all that stuff. I just think at that point it was kind of too late for them to make up more ground. I mean, I think he could have potentially ended up in P6, maybe P5, right? But with the hards, but it would have been tough either way.
It did appear the hards worked worse on the
But
Ferraris.
you're right, Money, by the way. He drove really well in the beginning. He really did. Yeah, he kind of zoomed through.
It did look like the hards were worse on the Ferraris relative to the other cars because they were faster. And obviously Leclerc was on softs, but Sainz as well was faster than the Mercedes. He was sticking with the Aston Martins in the first stint, and they put those hards on, and it was just done. Yeah. They were so much lower, and they lost position because they didn't put under the safety car. Then they couldn't catch back up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for whatever reason, the hards didn't work on that car.
And at that point, it was just too late to pit again and put the mediums on.
Yeah, at that point, it was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he did a good job managing the softs through the first stint and actually pitted, I think, after Sainz maybe or right around the same time because they overcut.
I think they actually, I think they came in
and maybe within a lap of each other. Yeah. They overcut. He overcut Stroll with soft tires. I mean,
yeah. What about you, Vish? What'd you think?
I mean, it's got to be Checo for driver of the day. Not just because he took pole and capitalized on it. He got past at the beginning because Alonso cheated, and he got penalized for it. I shouldn't say cheated. He pulled up wrong, but the way he did it actually gave him a better angle into the first corner.
Right. Now to the left, no, a little.
Yeah, he was on the left, and so it gave him the better angle to hold off Checo. And immediately they're like he's under investigation for pulling up into the pit box wrong. Once you have that, you're going to get the penalty. Like they don't investigate that. They have telemetry and stuff. It's not where they have to like analyze something. When you get investigated for that, it's done because they already know in the computer that you were not within the lines. So Checo, one thing I was really impressed. There's two things that really impressed me. The first thing is he could have then said, "This guy's getting a penalty. I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to hold behind him when we pit. I got 5 seconds in front of him. Game over. I don't need to risk this." Instead, he just passed him immediately because he knew he was under investigation when he passed him. So he had the option of just saying, "I'm going to hang back here,
right?
Not risk it because once the penalty is served, I'm definitely going to be in front." So he passed him and pulled away. And the second thing was what we talked about already, where they tried to screw him. He wasn't having it. Was not having it.
I love that.
We need that from him because he's our only hope here, as we've discussed. So we need that from him. But I was just happy. He immediately knew it. He was probably thinking before the race, if that guy gets near me, they're going to screw me. He was probably thinking that all night leading up to the race, everything. And he was just like, once they came on the race, like, nope, I don't trust any of you. It's like Mike Pence getting into the Secret Service car on January 6th. I'm not doing it, man. I don't trust you.
That's the perfect.
You're my team, but I don't trust you right now.
I don't trust you. Let me tell you something. So
I know you will kill me to get that guy the first place. So I'm not doing it.
Basically.
You don't even give me your disappointment. My bad.
Yeah, my disappointment is Hamilton. He when Russell refused to move over, he played the team game and said, "Okay." He should have shoved his way through, knocked that little punk off the road, pushed him into the barrier, and told him to F off. You can't be doing that.
My disappointment.
They were on different tires. They were on different tires.
I'm the opposite. I'm disappointed with Russell, right? Being such a prick and not a team player, right? When Hamilton had the opportunity to get past him, he made him, like you said, use up.
Yeah,
his
but then
tires
Hamilton
even
also
more.
didn't force the issue because he's like points
True,
for the team
true,
or whatever. I'm
true.
like, nah, man, it's not points for the team time. Get a
True.
little Checo in you. Be
Yep.
ruthless.
And you know what? He's the GOAT, right? He's got it in him. He should have just said,
Oh no, he
"Oh,"
does. I think again.
you know.
So there's been a few times in his career. It's happened towards the end of McLaren as well, where if the car is ass, he kind of loses a little bit of his fight. And I think he's like, who gives a crap if I finish 4th or 5th? And so when he's like, I'm not going to force the issue for this. This car sucks. I think if he actually thought like this is a title winning car, he would have shoved his way through. But my point is, you got to put that little punk in his place, man. You can't be having him do that. He disrespected you.
I agree. I mean, I agree. I mean, the Mercedes altogether, yeah, I was kind of disappointed to see that. For me, it was. I got to thinking, I was like, well, yeah, Max coming back all the way from 15 to place 2nd. But I'm like, no, that son of a gun does that all the time. I'm not impressed anymore by it. Definitely Checo's driving, and he drove brilliantly. I love the way that he managed it. I mean, he's obviously really good at that anyways. But yeah, it was a solid drive by Checo. I'm really happy for him to win. To be P1, so I see Moni's smirk because she's hearing that from me now.
I mean,
from the less crappier version of Jazz, apparently.
Yeah.
We are. I mean, I think we were true to brand. We are a Checo badass show. We all three picked him. This is
clearly. So yeah, I wanted to talk about the overall impact on the championship. I think it's still early. Early, but
still over.
But Max, it's a Max and Checo show. Period. Right? Like I think after that, I mean, it's not. This is the second week in a row that Alonso takes the podium again in that Aston Martin. So it's becoming less and less of a surprise that Aston Martin is up there and they've got the pace and they look fast. Even Lance Stroll before the car gave out was looking pretty good also. So I mean, are you surprised by what Aston Martin's doing now after this is the second race in a row where they're fast? Any of you could take that, by the way. I'm sorry. I mean,
yeah, host, you're supposed to ask a person, not just throw it up in the air.
I'm not throwing it up in the air. Anybody could take it. Nobody wants to take it.
What was the question? I was
this take it away, bro.
Okay. I'm a little surprised, but I think the gap will continue to close. I will say the one thing on the standings that really surprises me is in very similar to last year, this slow ass Mercedes is tied for second in the constructors.
Isn't that crazy?
Their car is so slow it doesn't break, and they finish, and they just like everyone else screws up. Stroll breaks down.
By the way, the truth is, I'm expecting to see Ferrari kind of take a jump, and in the Australian GP kind of take a place or two back. But yeah, I mean,
what is Mercedes doing up there? That car is so bad.
But look. Russell is a prick. We can't stand him. I get it, but he's still not a bad driver. Lewis Hamilton, pretty damn good driver in his own right? So they've got good drivers. Their car sucks, but they got good drivers. And so,
I mean, they've made an art out of just like finishing races and letting everyone else screw up, and then all of a sudden
that's half of it, though, right? How many times do you see a Ferrari, a fast car, and not finish, right? Or
whoa, what's happening here?
I'm doing the Russell post from.
Oh, the Russell.
Oh.
First, I was like, was she like doing the walk like an Egyptian?
Yeah, what is happening here? You're making references she's too young to understand, but I got it and I appreciate it, Jess.
Thanks. Let's just dancing to the Bengals back there or something. I don't know what's going on.
No, this is Russell.
Gotcha. Now I get it.
I was like, is Bodie okay? What's happening over here?
Man.
No, but every race is like, this is very similar to last year for Mercedes in that they come out of the car, they're like, that car sucks. Good points for the team, though.
Yeah.
Because they finish. You know, slow and
Good
stay
for them.
doesn't win the race, but you can come fourth and get a lot of points. So that's kind of where they're at right now.
Good for them. I'm
Yeah.
you know, whatever. I mean, I'm good with that. I'd rather see them up there than
Yeah, and
you know.
importantly, in terms of the head-to-head there, Hamilton is still in front of Russell. So,
Yeah.
we're okay here.
Good. Good. Speaking of head to head, right? We already mentioned this whole Checo Max thing that happened during the race towards the end. I'm gonna make a bold statement and a bold take, hot take, bold prediction, however you want to call it here. I've got a feeling that this Red Bull team is gonna end up imploding at some point, and at some point soon, because you know and quite frankly, I mean, you notice the difference, and I'm not saying that Max is not. I mean, he is the best driver on the grid now, right? He is. It is what it is. But like, it's just a way that they're managing both of them. They're managing this team. Christian Horner, I think, is going to end up, doing something that, whether Checo's going to leave this or he also is going to take Verstappen somewhere else because clearly he's the one that runs that. He's the one that runs that family. I mean, you notice the difference in how they celebrate compared to, and they did those still shots of when he was standing right next to Checo and he was, just standing there looking like this. And when Max wins a title, when Max wins a race, you see Checo's dad, giving Max a hug and celebrating, and that to me is ugly. Like, I don't like it, man. I just don't like it, and I think that that's going to be a problem moving forward because of what you've mentioned earlier, Vish. Right, like his sack is dropped, and now Checo's not going to take any crap from anybody apparently. And if he's got an opportunity to win the race, he's not going to be second fiddle to Max if he's really got a shot, right? So, and I like that. But I think it's going to end up being an issue for the Verstappens, and I can't wait for the implosion. I really can't wait.
I mean, when you say implosion, what do you mean? Because they're going to finish 1-2 in the championship, win the constructors easily.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about this year, maybe, but I think down the road they're going to have issues. They're going to have issues. It could be Checo leaves. They're going to have an issue.
Well, I think that's where I don't think it's going to be issues finding another driver because anyone would want to drive that car. You're at worst going to finish second. I think it's very likely this is Checo's last year under contract that he kind of probably knows Ricardo's hanging around.
Good. You say that they'll probably end up second, but you gotta have a good driver anyways, man.
No, and Checo is a good driver. I guess my point from his perspective, I'm
talking about when he leaves. Like, there's a
Ricardo
lot of
will be fine in that car, and they would actually.
That would be fun to watch. So
it's whoever Max wants in the second seat, and if Checo challenges him, it's not going to be Checo anymore. I mean, that's the reality of it.
I agree.
But I think Checo probably says it's probably not going to be me anyway.
Yeah,
because they got this Australian dude hanging around for no reason. Like they'll put someone else in the seat, so I might as well go for it. And I don't think he's going to win because, frankly, Verstappen's a better driver, and it's the same car. So it would take a lot. It would basically be like when Rosberg beat Hamilton because Hamilton's car kept blowing up. Right. It was actually the biggest delta in terms of performance of driver and winning the championship ever because Hamilton led all of the laps and his car would just break. Only his, though, for some reason. I still think we're going to find out later Rosberg was doing something to it. But anyway, because only his car kept breaking. That is, and even with that, it was the last race where like Rosberg had to pass someone to get into position to hold the championship. So it was even then. I actually think Checo's closer to Max than Rosberg was to Hamilton. But you're gonna need luck and you're gonna need DNFs. Like this race, you needed Max to not finish second, right? You needed him to get stuck behind like an AlphaTauri and not be able to pass for a few laps and then get frustrated and make a mistake. So you're going to need some of that. But all Checo really needs to do is stay within 25 points, stay within a race win, and keep the pressure on. And then one DNF, and all of a sudden you could be like at race 10 or whatever, and he's in first because as long as he keeps finishing second, right? And in another race, I'm telling you, there's going to be races where they're all one pit stop ahead of everyone else, right? And then that means the guy in second gets to free pit and get the fastest lap, not the guy in first. So if he's dropping 5, 6, 7 points a weekend, winning some races here and there too, it's going to take a lot of time for Max to pull away from him. And then one DNF, and all of a sudden you're at like race 12 and Checo's in first. Then what?
That'd be funny,
right?
That'd
He's
be
just got
funny.
to hang on and get seconds and win a couple and just keep it close, and then tell George Russell to knock Max out of a race, and then all of a sudden it's Checo time, man.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned George Russell, because I want to get both of your takes on, on the drama over at Mercedes with him and Hamilton, right? We spoke a little bit about it earlier, but then there's a lot of rumors swirling, and I know Vish, you're gonna knock this down, so I'm not gonna go to you first. I'm gonna go to Moni first.
No.
There's the rumor swirling Hamilton might want to leave Mercedes. There's a rumor swirling that, okay, now we're talking about Checo probably leaving Red Bull also. There may be, and this may be exciting for F1, right? For Formula One fans, really, is to see all this movement, this free agency, the F1 free agency. How would you respond, Moni, to those rumors that Hamilton might want to get out of leave Mercedes and go somewhere else, and then they're talking, well, he's going to go to Ferrari. Then, but where does he go in Ferrari? Leclerc being pissed off at what they're doing there, and then he kind of reasserting that he loves Ferrari, he loves being in the Reds and racing for them, and he wants to win a championship there. So there's a lot of things going on with the top 3 or 4 teams right now of some drivers. Like, what was, first of all, your response to Hamilton wanting potentially leaving Mercedes, and then the rest of the field for some of the top guys like Checo and Leclerc as well? Like, how do you see all that shaping out, or is it kind of just like people throwing stuff out there just to have some something exciting to talk about?
Yeah, I think it's mostly people just throwing stuff out there to have something to talk about. You have to think about the fact that, I'm not saying that Hamilton is going to retire after the season or anything like that, but you have to take into consideration that he's an older driver. So there, to me, once an athlete starts getting old, there's always this, I guess you could say, like, a little bit of uncertainty about what their future might look like, precisely because they're older, right? I wouldn't mind seeing Checo in a little German automobile. I wouldn't mind that,
What about an Italian one? Jesus, come on.
No. Listen, look,
AlphaTauri is a pretty big step down for him.
No. I don't. No way, dude. At this point, let's say someone like Checo, I do think that he would be just like shooting like for the stars, like as cliche as it sounds. Like, I don't think he's at a point in his career where he would want to downgrade in any way. So, and bringing the whole Red Bull.
There's nowhere else to go but down.
Yeah, you can't not downgrade.
Okay, I'm saying, like, okay, he won't go.
But I get what you're saying.
Williams, Checo's not gonna drive for Williams, but a team. And listen, it might not even be too bad of an idea. Aston Martin might be on the table. Like, I'm just espérate. O sea, like, hold on.
Like Evan says, Daddy Stroll drop his own son to win a championship.
That's what I'm saying. This is just me getting ahead of myself. Just like everyone else is getting ahead of themselves with all these rumors. That's just my opinion. It's just everyone is taking this huge unnecessary step to like start talking about where drivers might be going, and where Hamilton might go. Do you guys honestly see Hamilton racing anywhere else for like the next, let's say, 2 to 3 years? That's not Mercedes.
Well, here's my thing, right? And I'll throw this to you, Vish. Like, for me, like Hamilton, right? Hamilton equates to Tom Brady, right? Like that's where I see it, right? The comparison on goatness. Okay, so do you see Hamilton riding off into the sunset, like sort of like Tom Brady said, I'm going to go to Tampa Bay and win a championship? Is there anywhere else better for him than Mercedes? Like, do you see potentially, right? And this is just a hypothetical. Hamilton, somehow a seat opens up in Ferrari. Would he take a seat in Ferrari as opposed to Mercedes? maybe compete. Obviously Ferrari has a fast car. They're developing, yada yada yada. He could go in there and potentially win a championship somehow at Ferrari. Do you see something like that happening with him? And then kind of touch on like the Leclerc rumors and where you could possibly see a guy like Checo going to after this year.
Yeah. So first with Hamilton, I think the analogy holds in that it's got to be a car he thinks he can win the championship in, not just a race, but the championship. He is functionally, but not officially, the driver with the most drivers' championships in history, except they stole his last one. Honestly, I think if he had won that, and then the way the Mercedes was last year, he might have retired. Right? After like 1 year of porpoising up and down, he's like, I don't need to do this. I'm the greatest driver ever. But he's one short. Actually, he's more than one short because McLaren blew one too. On like the last race, it's his rookie year. He should have won the championship. And actually, Fernando Alonso screwed him, which is a whole other thing. But so he's like, he should have had that one. He doesn't have it. He's chasing that one. So whatever it is, I think the thing that would make him leave Mercedes, he just gives up on. This is not going to happen in the next like 4 years, and I'm old. I got to go now, right? In that case, yeah, I don't think a seat has to open up at Ferrari. If he back channels, I want to go to Ferrari, they'll fire both of those drivers. Oh yeah, who do you want your teammate to be?
Heartbeat, yeah.
We'll fire them both. You can have one seat. Who do you want your teammate to be?
Like, can you guys imagine Hamilton and Checo racing for Ferrari? That's insane material.
Well, they both won't go to that.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're gonna. I don't.
That would be crazy, Moni. That would be crazy.
I don't actually think they're gonna fire both drivers.
Yeah.
But
they'll fire either one.
My point is, whatever. If it'll be one of those. What do we have to do to put you into this team? Like, you can bring your engineers. Who do you want from Mercedes? We'll bring that. Whatever it is, they'll make. If he wants to go there, but I don't know that he knows that he thinks that Ferrari can actually compete either.
Right.
The interesting thing is, if not for Aston Martin giving Alonso a multi-year deal, that's a potential landing spot. Martin Wishmarsh, their CEO, was his guy at McLaren. He left when Martin Whitmarsh got replaced. Like, that's his guy from back in his McLaren days when he came up, and he's now running Aston Martin. Like, but there's no way he's going near Fernando Alonso. So even if
he's not Fernando Alonso,
even if Daddy Stroll drops his son, there's zero chance Hamilton will ever be Alonso's teammate again. So that's not happening. So that's actually that's the second fastest car in the grid right now. Yeah. That's not an option. Red Bull's obviously, he would never go near there either. So it almost feels like he's kind of stuck. Ferrari would be the only one you could even like possibly go to. But they would need to show, I think two things need to happen over the course of the rest of the season. One, the Mercedes continues to be crap. Toto Wolff has said it's a dead end, our current design. They're doing something else apparently. They're going to basically come out with a new car.
Basically scratching everything.
Yeah. They're continuing to incrementally advance this so they don't just fall way behind. But apparently at some point in the middle of the season, they're basically going to show up with a new car, new design concept. If that flops,
oh yeah.
And at that point, if Ferrari is like close the gap and they're looking like they're pressuring Red Bull and maybe they're catching up a little bit, maybe then he would be intrigued. But Ferrari's gotta also just show like, yeah, by next March, we can compete with the Red Bulls at the front. Otherwise, there's no point going.
Right. That makes sense.
Bring up Brady, and I kind of think about like Messi going to PSG, like.
Yeah, that's kind of backfired on them a little bit.
Yeah, right? but Brady actually won a Super Bowl first.
No, I understand, but that's what I mean.
Messi didn't win squad, so
yeah,
that's true.
I mean, he did. He won the World Cup, but not because of PSG.
No, that's what I'm saying.
We won't talk about Real Madrid, okay, Moni, and Barcelona. We won't talk about that either. All right, we keep that offline.
That's fine. We'll keep it offline.
That's fine. They can have their little trophy and then, take it around the Europa League and do that kind of stuff.
I'm so dead.
We still got the Champions League, okay? All right. Good.
I haven't even said anything. I'm happy.
I know. I don't know why Jazz like Prix started talking shit. Anyway.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned something, Vish, when you were talking about Mercedes and their design, right? They're scratching it, doing something completely different. We also wanted to kind of point out that it looks like Ferrari has an idea moving forward, right?
Okay, well, this is what I want to talk about.
So what's this article?
Okay. This is let's start with Ferrari because I want to get your take on this. So,
shit.
You as a seasoned Ferrari fan, you've been through a lot with this team. Now they're claiming, yes, the car's slow, but what we're seeing on track matches up with the wind tunnel data, and we know how to fix it.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you? 10 being the most confident that they're not full of it.
10 being that they're not full of. So
yeah,
10
like 10 being
right?
that everything they're saying is correct. They have figured this out, and in 4 races or so, they're going to show up with a significantly improved.
You know that song by R. Kelly that says, "My mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me 0, but my mind's telling me."
Are we going to get demonetized just for saying R. Kelly?
I hope not.
And then you broke out into lyrics too, which is just going to really get us into trouble.
Sounded good though. Sounded good.
Yeah, except
at least to me it sounded good.
Yeah. It's fine when you sing it. When he sings it and you think about him, then it's a problem.
I know, you're right. Bad example, but good song. Okay, good song for this.
Yeah.
Anyways,
you came to it 0, huh?
Look, no, look. The truth is, right. I mean, there's new people in place. Okay, and there's there's people that have left recently, right? David Sanchez, I know, left. I don't know how much he's gonna have to do. He would have had to do with it, but I assume it would be a significant amount when it comes to how to fix the issues. And so, look, there's certain things that I like what I'm seeing. Okay, maybe the results aren't there yet on the track, but I like what I'm seeing when it comes to strategy so far. They're doing okay, right? It doesn't sound like a bunch of buffoonery over the radio. Okay, their pit stops. It doesn't look like an absolute clown show. Okay,
I will say this is now in the first race. They got to like lap 10, and they're like, "We're on plan A."
Right, and they're still
on plan A. And then
this exciting.
This race, they faked Aston Martin out, overcut them, jumped both cars past Stroll, and they ended up not working out.
But it wasn't because of them, right?
So that is 2 races in a row of competence.
Yeah. So hey, confidence level is like, I'm gonna give him like a 7.5 right now.
Whoa! So look at this. This man thinks he's gonna be competing at the top.
7.5. I think that after race 4 or 5, you might see, you might see a little bit of a jump. Look, Leclerc had bad luck in the first one, right? His car blew up, so his car stopped working. Whatever the hell you want to say. I mean, he had a podium there, so and then
that is true. He was well in front of Alonso.
The second one, if he didn't have to take a penalty, chances are he may end up in the podium as well. I mean, that was a strong possibility. So, it's okay. The result is not there yet, but I think that they're on the right track and they're on the right path. And Fred Vasseur is doing okay. So far so good. In that aspect, we just need to see the results on track, and I think you'll start to see him soon. So yeah, I'm okay. I'm decently confident about it.
Look at this man's optimism, man. You have not been defeated yet. I am impressed.
We keep going.
I'm impressed. After playing like L last year on lap 2, I've been like, you know what?
Last year was tough, but we got to stick.
I mean, I've reached that point with McLaren. I'm like, yeah, they're both in last again, whatever.
We gotta stick with the Scuderias, all right? We gotta stick with them, with the Tifosi. Or shout out to Vincenzo. We gotta get Vincenzo on the show again, man. So I can get a little more support around here with the Reds.
Support?
No, you guys have been pretty supportive.
I just lobbed the softball to you, and frankly, if your team didn't suck, we'd be all bathed in red right now. Challenge the Red Bulls. They can't even do that. You got Austin Martin in the middle.
I would be wearing the flag right now, and
I am rooting like super hard for.
We want someone
to challenge
them, and it doesn't.
And right now we're all part of the Fighting Checo Club.
Yeah, well, we want Checo to challenge Max. But also, it would be nice if like another team, and frankly, it's not going to be Aston Martin because they just have a crappy copy of it. It's like it's the Great Value Red Bull. So it's never going to be faster.
The Great Value Red Bull.
I mean, that's what it is. They stole the design and they built it, and it's
you get that reference, Moni? Do you get that reference?
Great Value has fantastic products.
You see, so maybe it's not that bad, Dish. Right?
No, it's not bad. They're good. That was my point. It's a good car.
Yeah,
that's what I said right after that. It's just not quite as good as the name brand.
That's true.
And so it's never going to be better than the name brand, and that's why it's never going to they're not going to out Red Bull the Red Bulls in a Red Bull.
Right.
Right? Like they're not going to, we're going to take their design that we stole legally or illegally, we don't know, but they copied it, right? It's a copy.
Right. Yeah.
And then somehow advance it so that's better than the people that actually built it the first. It's not going to happen. So you really have to have another team that has a different design concept entirely, because that's when you get the stuff like, wow, this track favors Ferrari's concept more than Red Bull's. They're going to be faster this week. You're never going to get that from Aston Martin, because the car just a little bit worse.
This is true.
So it's on you, Jazz. So make the call to Italy. Get this thing worked out.
Talk to my buddy Freddie over there. But we'll see. We got a break this week. This weekend, no race, and then we head off to Australia for the Australia.
Head off to the Australia, where we'll be on Moni time. She can wake up on the weekend as if it's a weekday, and then the race is
nice. Look at that. Look at you.
It's like
that 3 a.m. race. You're like, I'm up anyway. So.
Literally.
Oh my God, Moni, we know you got to get out of here, so we appreciate you staying on a little bit longer than we thought you would. So always,
anything for you guys.
You're the best. The queen here, Moni Lebro. But we'll be back for you guys next Wednesday. We'll preview the Australian GP and we'll give you guys our predictions.
Well, I can tell you, I'm definitely not picking Checo to win. I'm not doing that to that man.
No, but
don't.
So
the question is, will you take a McLaren to finish in qualifying all the way to Q3? That's the question.
Piastri did last week. It doesn't matter. They still get hit on the first lap and end up the 2 last spots. So.
Oh my God. We'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Maybe pick Russell to win.
8 p.m. Jesus, don't do that. Even if you wanted to backfire, don't do it. Oh man.
Russell DNF has not been working for me. Maybe Russell to win will cause the DNF.
That's true.
We need to get out of here.
8
o'clock on the 5 Reasons Sports channel. Make sure you check us out. Follow us on Twitter at Hitting the Apex on Twitter as well. Moni, Vish, always a pleasure. Keep it locked. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. Adios.
Yeah. Everyone stay on the channel if you want to talk Canes.
We've got Canes now.
We got another show coming, so do that. All right. See you guys next week.